While the eyes of the nation were on Iran and Indiana, an autonomous car drove across the entirety of the United States almost entirely under its own control. And so today on Final Judgment, we talk about the future of automotive technology. First, let's show you a picture of that car. Not bad looking. Cooler looking than my electronic car, certainly. Now, it is being made and supplied by auto supplier Delphi Corporation. They fitted an Audi Q5 with radar, cameras, and laser sensors to navigate the 15-state journey from San Francisco to New York, mostly traveling on highways. The car drove itself 99% of the time. That trip, by the way, 3,400 miles. Now, yes, it's almost entirely on highways, but only 1% of the time did a human need to get behind the wheel, literally and figuratively, and take control of it. And so it seems like we're getting closer and closer to this being something that could be practical for an individual like you to use on your day-to-day life. Now, let's talk about those interventions, because obviously that's the concern. When do humans need to take over? The person sitting in the car's driver's seat intervened once when traffic was weaving around in a construction zone, and again when the car didn't want to move into a busy left lane to avoid police stopped on the right shoulder. The car also got a little skittish when it was next to semi-trailer trucks edging over to avoid them. But honestly, who among us doesn't do that when you're driving right next to a tractor trailer? And then for the future, the information that they've gotten out of this trial, the 3,400-mile drive, Delphi engineers collected nearly 3 terabytes of data, equivalent to 30% of all the printed material in the Library of Congress, that they can use to further enhance autonomous driving systems. So this is not the only test of this sort, of driving cross-country, either mostly under your own control or with some assistance from humans. But it is, I think, going to be looked back on as one of the important first steps towards this becoming a practical thing for day-to-day use. It's like the automotive equivalent of a kitty hawk, perhaps. And that is a lot of data that they've gathered there. Now, there are regular inconveniences, I suppose, on your commute. Things like that they needed to take over on the highway driving. I mean, you're going to drive through construction zones, parking lots, things that are more complicated than on a highway. And certainly tackling those problems is going to be much more difficult than getting a car to go the speed limit down a flat, straight stretch of road. I totally understand that, but I feel like my final judgment today is that it is now decided. In the very near future, 10, 20, 30 years, we're going to look back and not just say, oh, it's cool that our cars drive themselves, but our children are going to say, why would we have wanted to drive in the first place? It seems cool now. You want to control the power of the throttle. You want to be in control of it. But think about in the future, when you can nap, perhaps, on your way to work. You can talk with your friends. You can watch TV, something like that. Think about the extra leisure time and productivity time that the average American is going to have on what is an average of about an hour commute each day. That is going to be a massive improvement to the standard of life of so many Americans and people around the globe, and it looks like a near certainty at this point. I understand many people are going to be uncomfortable, perhaps even angry, about the idea of their control over the car being taken away, but it seems like with added technology, added safety precautions, it's certainly going to happen at this point. So that's my final judgment. Thanks for joining us today.